As someone who wears leather boots every day, it's very important to me how they look. That's why today I'm going to be teaching you how to properly take care of leather footwear. Okay, first things first, we need to gather the materials we need. First, we have leather lotion or leather conditioner, shoe polishes, a dish of water, 4 or 5 old rags, old socks work perfectly well for this, and of course, leather boots. Once we've gathered all of the materials, first we need to start off by cleaning the boot. So you take one of your rags, dip it in the water, wring it out. You don't want too much water on there because water isn't good for leather. But we just need to wipe around the edges mostly because that's where the dirt will be. Especially make sure that there's no salt on your boots. And ideally during the winter, you want to wash off all the salt as soon as you get home because that's about the worst thing you can have on your boots. Alright, once we've gotten the boot all clean, next step is conditioning it. With the next rag, apply about a nickel-sized drop of leather lotion or leather conditioner to the sock. Next, take it and kind of wrap it around your finger so you have control over it. And you want to spread it over right across the leather. And especially with exotic skins, you always want to make sure that you're going with the grain. These are lizard skin, so they're pretty sturdy, but it always is important to follow the grain and make sure that you get in all the grooves and everything. Make sure you're massaging the lotion in, just as though it were your own skin. And keep on doing that. Alright. Now that we've pretty much finished with all of the conditioning, just getting those last few little crevices here and there. It's still a little bit dry, so you just want to make sure that you get in the cracks there. You don't want cracks. Alright. Next step is to choose a proper color polish. Now, of course they can make shoe polishes in just about any color. So we have brown, and we have brown, and we have black. Obviously the black isn't going to work. So we think, oh, well, you know, the cap on this kind of matches the leather, but you always want to make sure that you open up the polish to find out what color it really is. This brown, I've used it obviously plenty of times, but it's a little bit dark for this leather. So we're going to go with a newer one, and it's more of like a reddish tan brown than, you know, the darker brown, so this will be what we use. The next step, we're going to take another rag. You want to make sure that it's fresh because you don't want other things on it to mess up the balance. So ordinarily, you would scoop out a bit of polish, just rubbing the cloth on the polish. In this case, because it is lizard skin, I don't really want to be messing around with it too much, but if I take a little bit of brown polish, and where you can see little white parts or lighter brown parts, you want to just fill in with polish, just a little bit, to kind of darken that up and make it more solid and fresh looking. So you want to go over all of the cracks like that. Alright, so as we're finishing up the polishing, next we have to do the buffing. The reason we have to buff it is because, of course, as you can see, it's not very shiny and it looks kind of bland and dull, and we don't want that. We want nice and shiny boots. So we're going to take another cloth. I prefer a longer one for this. And there are two ways of doing this. First, you can it kind of requires like holding it between your knees, and you can rub your cloth back and forth over the leather, just like you see in the movies. Otherwise, it should also work if you just wrap the cloth around your hand and you want to rub back and forth, and what this is doing is rubbing out the excess polish as well as adding that nice shine to it. Alright, now that our boot is all buffed up, it looks perfect. Almost. There's one last thing that I always do with my boots to make sure that they have that extra crisp flair to them. And that would be right along the edges. I always want to make sure that my my foot is outlined with color. So we're going to take the last remaining rag, and now we're going to take black shoe polish, because in just about every case the sole of your boot is going to be black. So take the black shoe polish, wrap your last cloth around your finger. You just want one because it's fine detailing. You want to take a little bit of black. It's not going to take much. And very, very carefully, so you don't get it on the actual foot of the boot, you want to just go right along the edge and paint with the polish. Alright, that's all it takes. Congratulations, you now know how to properly take care of leather boots.